Hi, my name is Travis Austin,
And this is Nathan Kurtz.
and we work with the New Bonner Technologies Support Department. Today, we are going to talk about distribution groups, but specifically the repository location that a distribution group uses. Nathan?
So, the first kind of repository that we'll talk about today is the repository that is used by the self-distributed type of distribution location. When using a self-distributed distribution agent, the Prism client will build its own internal folder structure on the client machine in question, to which it will download the payloads of tasks that have been assigned to it that you will not have to mess with in any way, shape, or form. One thing to note is that self-distributed distribution locations will only download the payloads of tasks that have actually been assigned to that machine.
When you say that, does that mean that group-based distribution groups actually download distributed tasks right away?
Group-based distribution locations will end up downloading any task that has been marked as distributed when the machine that has been marked as the distribution agent pulls into the server and sees that there are distributed tasks to download. If there are tasks that it has not downloaded previously, it will download them at that time.
Okay.
Next, talking about a group-based distribution location. We have the options for either a local file storage repository or a network file storage repository.
Well, Nate, why would I might use a local file store and what would that entail?
So, we would recommend that you might want to use a local file storage repository when either the Prism client that you have designated as the distribution agent is either a server machine itself, or if the office has less than 10 computers and you have selected a workstation machine, then you can also use a local file storage repository.
Why do you say the remote office would need to have less than or equal to 10 machines if you were choosing a workstation?
If you were to choose a workstation to be the agent and you were to use a local file storage repository, workstation operating systems have a limit to the number of congruent connections that can be made to them, the limit of which is 10. So if you had more than 10 machines in an office and they were all to try and run a task at one time, you might end up seeing errors running that task because they can't all access it at the same time.
Okay.
So when you make a local file storage repository, you can specify where that location will end up being on that machine. And if this does not exist on the machine, it will make the folder structure itself, and you can also have it create the share that will then share this out on the machine. And you can specify the credentials to use to make that share. And then you would specify here where the client machines in question will end up accessing the tasks from. And you can also set the credentials then that these client machines will end up using to access this share. Now, the other type of group-based distribution location is a network-based storage repository. And we would recommend using a network-based storage repository for offices that have more than 10 client machines, or if the client machine that you have designated as the distribution agent is itself not a server.
I see in the local file storage that it would create the share, but this option doesn't seem to be available for the network shared file storage. What do I do there?
When using a network file storage repository, you have to pre-make the share that you are going to designate for the network file storage repository. And then you also have the ability to restrict what times it would be possible for the distribution agent to download the payloads of tasks. So if you did not want the distribution agent to copy the payloads of tasks down during the working day, you can specify that it do it only during sometime over the night or in the early morning.
So what would happen if I assigned a task to run as soon as possible, but because the machine I'm assigning the task to is in one of these remote office distribution groups and it hasn't yet replicated due to time, am I going to get an error?
No, you won't.
Will it run after it's been distributed?
After the payload of that task has been distributed, then the assignment for that task will run.
All right, that is our quick discussion about local file storage versus network file storage with distribution groups. The next video that we're going to have will discuss distributed tasks.